Hi, I'm going to talk about my behavior change project, and the client that the project is on is a 7-year-old boy. He attends a general education class in our area and attends the general class for the majority of the day and is pulled out for a math and reading sessions. He attends an ABA clinic for 5 days a week, 2.5 hours a day. He lives at home with his mother and father. He has no siblings, but he does have two pets, a cat and a dog. In addition to ABA therapy, his parents have also involved him in swim lessons, horse therapy, gymnastics, and he is also involved in the Boys and Girls Club after school program. The behaviors that were targeted for change for this project were yelling, self-interest behavior, and aggression towards peers were demonstrated. Across the board in the general education setting, the ABA clinic, and at home. However, the aggression towards peers have not been observed during the ABA, so that was not used in this project. It had not been observed for 2 weeks prior. The operational definition for this project was actually implemented the behaviors together, because when we looked at the data prior, that data that indicated that those behaviors were occurring together. So the operational definition of the behavior is as follows, and I'm going to read that just so that's very clear. Having at least 2 of the following behaviors for 10 seconds or more. Kicking, defined as moving the foot forward toward an item or person with force. Hitting, moving his hands toward a person with force from at least 6 inches or more. Yelling, screaming, was defined as a voice level at a tone above that of a conversational tone that can be heard outside of the room. His self-interest behavior is very descriptive. There are 2. He grabs his own wrist, the skin on his wrist, and kind of twists the skin, and also pulls his own hair. In the project, I did give some examples and non-examples, just to clarify that if only one of the behaviors was happening for a duration of over 30 seconds, that would not be tracked as tantrum behavior. Being very clear that there had to be 2 of the behaviors for 10 seconds or more. And these behaviors were tracked using a timer, just clipped to the therapist or carried with them. They operated on batteries, and they just hit start when the behavior occurred, and then stop when the behavior did not meet the definition any longer. This was also then tracked in their iPad with a app called Catalyst. So that also kept track of their behavior. For the graphing purposes, the total duration of tantrum behavior for the day over the sessions was recorded. Inter-observer agreement was conducted, luckily, on 100% of the sessions across baseline, intervention, and since this is an experimental treatment design, the AB reversal, it was tracked across the second baseline and as well the second intervention phase. During the first baseline IOA, the range was 40.92 minutes total duration to 48.2 minutes total duration, and there was an 85% inter-observer agreement for the first baseline. Now, this did increase in the first intervention phase with a 98.7% IOA. And the range was 12.416 minutes to 12.58 minutes total duration. In the second baseline, the therapist recorded total duration of 47.61 minutes, and the observer recorded 47.66 minutes, which indicated a 99.9% inter-observer agreement. In the second intervention phase, the IOA was only at 87.4 with a range of 4.66 for the therapist at minutes and 5.33 minutes for the observer. During the baseline phase, I want to describe how that was set up. The sessions took place in a therapy room similar to other ABA clinics with a table, 2 child-sized chairs. Materials were out of reach or out of sight of the client until they were used, and there was also a setting in an office with a computer, which is where he did his reading program. Those 2 settings were the 2 settings that were indicated that this behavior took place. In the intervention phase, the same setup. The targets were presented, same as in baseline, and the computer program was utilized as well. However, in the intervention phase, we implemented a non-contingent escape plan, and he was able to man at 5 minutes when a timer went off for a break from the instruction, and then we returned. So that was the difference in the intervention phase. He was also given reinforcement for correct responses. For maintenance, we are continuing this plan, so we are continuing to collect data. There was no generalization data collected. However, I would like to see how this generalizes into his general education setting or the home setting. The results indicated that, yes, the break, the non-contingent escape plan did reduce the tantrum behavior. And I'll show you that in the graph. However, I do apologize because when I show it on here, it does not, on my iPad, it does not give the numbers at the bottom. So I'm going to explain those anyway. But there's the graph of the first baseline, first intervention, second baseline, and second intervention. The results indicated that in the first baseline, the behaviors range from 7.92 minutes to 11.25 minutes, with a mean of 9.584 minutes. In that first intervention phase, that drastically reduced to 0.75 minutes to 4.25 minutes range, with a average of 2.4834 minutes, or 2.48 minutes. That trend continued for the first baseline. When we went to the second baseline, that the behavior increased again, and the average for that was 9.48 minutes again. In the second intervention phase, there was that steady decrease again that we would expect to see, with a mean duration of 0.93 minutes of tantrum behavior. The Behavior Change Project did address reducing tantrum behavior in children with escape-maintained behaviors, and as I saw with my results, the non-contingent escape plan did effectively reduce his challenging behavior, the tantrum behavior. The limitation is that there were multiple settings, and that would make it hard to prove that the conditions were the same. Thank you.